My BF, M22, eats like a child and I, F21, can't take it anymore. I am getting incredibly frustrated with my boyfriend's eating habits. He is 22 years old and yet he only eats off the kids' menu. He will say things like, cheeseburger with no lettuce, no tomato, no onion, no pickle, no sauce, so basically just the bread and meat. He will not have any type of sauce like ketchup. Ever. He only orders chicken tenders. Plain. At restaurants. Or plain pasta with no sauce or meat. For breakfast he will have white rice or plain unflavored oatmeal. He has no restraints when it comes to sweet food or candy however. He will not eat anything other than fast food. He won't even have soup. He won't eat any meat that isn't in the form of patty or nugget. He also won't eat vegetables. When we go out with his friends they make fun of him and then he gets mad at me for not standing up for him, when in reality I am barely holding back from ripping on him myself. Honestly, I'm fed up with this so much that I almost want to end the relationship. Cooking is one of my biggest hobbies and I learned how to cook really well growing up in hopes that I'd have someone to share my food with. My problem is not that he doesn't like it. It's that he refuses to try no matter what and will have a total tantrum if we try to force him. To me, it is a major sign of immaturity, as well as privilege to be so picky. I am Japanese, and he is white. He frequently looks through my Japanese cookbooks and says stuff like, "Ew, gross, that's disgusting. Why would someone eat that?" which I find incredibly disrespectful. Even if I personally wouldn't want to try certain kinds of food, I would never make a big scene of disrespecting someone's cultural food. I have no idea what to do, and many of my friends have suggested that I just encourage him to try things slowly over time. But that is worsening our relationship as it literally disgusts me to see a grown man having a temper tantrum in public because he doesn't want to try a bite of lettuce. Help. I have seen picky eaters. But never to this degree. I can't imagine what a nightmare that traveling with him would be. Should I break up with him over this? Has anyone dealt with this before? I've been reading about an eating disorder that's quite similar to this, however the comments that your food is gross also sound like dudes not worth hanging around. I'd give some ultimatums of like, either get help or I'm gone. There's plenty of dudes that would appreciate your cooking and the love of food in general. You're 21. Just go and find someone who isn't a man-child. So the food aversion is one thing. He might need therapy for that. But calling food in your cookbooks disgusting? That's just mean and immature. Adults recognize that different people like different things. And just because they don't like something doesn't make it disgusting. I'd ask him to stop putting things you'd like down. And I'd ask him to consider therapy. Arfid or not, it would be a deal breaker for me. I would break up and tell him why. Hopefully it'll encourage him to get help. Don't waste your youth on someone like this. Oh my god, this sounds absolutely miserable. Just leave. I can't imagine sticking to plain food when there's an entire world of cuisine, spices and flavors out there. Cooking and enjoying food seems like a passion and enjoyable for you, so this would be enough to consider as a deal breaker. Plus he's acting like a child, being defensive and disrespectful to your culture by calling it gross. Remember, something doesn't have to happen or be truly awful to get out of a relationship. It's just as plain as a compatibility issue, and you don't see this working out long term. From what I understand, this is considered an eating disorder. ARFID. Read more here. https centerfordiscovery.com/blog/ARFID Adults Not Just Disorder Childhood / There are things that can help, but it would be up to him if he wants help. As far as he is concerned, he doesn't have an issue, and I would agree with him. He seems to be okay with it, so who am I or you to say? I love to cook, share dishes, love to eat new stuff and enjoy having all kinds of food to eat with my partner, family and friends. I fear this a deal breaker. You two are not compatible food-wise. Maybe he has an eating disorder. Maybe he's just childish and picky. Either way, he's a 22-yo man. You can't fix it for him and he's not doing anything about it. Your friend's advice to encourage him slowly to try new things would be great advice if you were his mother and he were a toddler. But since you're his girlfriend, it's ridiculous advice. It's not your job to teach a grown man to eat like an adult. The problem isn't his diet. It's how he reacts to you making suggestions. Even if he's completely set on never changing his diet and will never try anything or listen to anyone's suggestions, it shouldn't be impossible for him to calmly and politely explain that to you. You're dating. He's supposed to like you. No matter how knee-jerk defensive he might be about the subject, he should be able to take a breath and tell you if he doesn't want to discuss the issue or make any changes. How does he react to other suggestions? Is he receptive to advice in other areas? It might just be a food thing, but I'd be concerned about how he might treat you in other disagreements. On the topic of the food issue, it comes down to whether this is a deal breaker for you. Would you be able to spend the rest of your life cooking for just yourself? Or cooking 2 meals every time you eat together? Are you okay with never going anywhere fancy with him that isn't able to make simple food? How invested are you in him? Because if you can't let this go and let him eat how he wants, you might as well move on. He's unlikely to change anytime soon. If his friends pick on him about it, and you're pushing him to try new things, he's probably a tight ball of angry defensiveness by now. Nothing can reach him till the people around him give him some space to relax and stop feeling like every word is an attack. Given space, he might change eventually. But it's not something you should bet the next 510 years on. If you don't want to be with him as he is, don't be. I was thinking he might be autistic until he made that comment about your food. That's a hard no by me. It's disrespectful to you and your culture. Leave him. Him having different tastes than you is fine. But going through your cookbook and insulting your Japanese cookbooks is absolutely disgusting and also very racist, like he's being racist towards you. Another thing which you may not have considered is that this will catch up with him eventually. You can't eat like a toddler your entire life and not end up with health issues. I know a girl who was similar to this. Hated anything green. Lived on whiskey and burgers. This was fine until she hit about 35 years old. Now she's struggling with her weight and health. But also, one of my favorite parts of my relationship is eating together. Going out, cooking at home, anything. It's one of our pastimes. Don't let this guy hold you back from one of the best things in life. What's going to happen if you guys want to go to Japan one day? I have seen similar posts and they found that guy was in autistic spectrum. Seems like it's the case. Hey, so as someone who lived in Japan for a long time, Japanese food is just stellar. Like you, I find his reaction to be disgusting, rude, and entitled. It's hard to enjoy things with someone just so unwilling to be flexible and try new things. This would be a no-go with me. Could you imagine needing to cater to him if you ever travel? I can't view a person this inflexible as a partner. I also imagine he would be inflexible in other portions of life as well. I have been where you are. My ex would eat nothing but absolute garbage. We're talking oven pizza topped with chicken tenders and mayonnaise 3 nights a week. Took no interest in cooking with me, or eating at restaurants with me, despite me being a cook and having an interest in food. When I would cook something new, He would drown it in barbecue sauce and complain he was still hungry. Cooking and the distribution of how often I was expected to cook was a constant source of conflict in our house. Fast forward a few years, and my current partner loves to cook, loves eating out at restaurants, and enjoys the whole process. We cook together every day, and he is genuinely interested in trying new cuisines. I didn't realize how much of a deal-breaker it was for me until I met him. Cooking and food is fun for me again. You shouldn't have to compromise on your love of cooking and the connection to your culture that brings you. The right person is out there. When you want something from your partner that they're under no moral obligation to give, it is wrong to try to get what you want by being unpleasant or downright abusive to them until they comply. If he posted instead of you, I'd tell him exactly the same thing, that you are under no obligation to abandon your passion for cooking. And his expressions of distaste or disgust are very bad. You will have to either bargain with him or decide that you'd rather be alone than offer him something that would induce him to cooperate. Either choice is perfectly acceptable. This feels familiar because when husband and I first started dating, I was a picky eater. We were both 18 at the time. I was not even remotely as bad as your husband, but I did have an aversion to trying new things. It got to a point where we were 1 year into the relationship and my husband, then BF, said, "If you're not willing to even give things a try, I don't know if we'll be a good match long term." He wanted to travel and try new things and worried my eating habits would make that a difficult experience. I thought he was being totally fair and also really disliked this trait in myself. So I took it to heart. I established a rule where I had to try at least one bite of whatever crazy thing my husband ordered, and was okay to order something I thought I'd like, as long as it wasn't basic. Remember that I was never chicken tender and plain pasta bad, more like picking tomato off burgers, and would eat nothing with mushroom bad. I've grown so much. We just got back from traveling internationally where we were given an authentic meal of things like raw fish, and I was the first one to jump in and finish. My husband struggled more than I did, and he made sure to point out how proud he was that I gave it all a try. I actually enjoyed the meal more than he did. I'd sit him down and do something similar. This will make your life more difficult with travel and children down the road. I now have no patience for picky eaters because I myself was one and overcame it. So internally I feel no one else has a valid reason, with the exception of allergies and diet concerns. You're justified to feel the way you do because it is embarrassing for everyone involved. Give him an ultimatum: if these eating habits will indefinitely continue and you aren't open to at least trying new things, I don't think we're as compatible as we need to be for a long-term relationship. For many picky eaters, it's the anxiety of getting something they're not sure they'll like and having to commit to that. At the start I would try husband's food. It was always more wacky. And then we'd progress to sharing a more complex app. Now I order things that have at least one thing I know I like in the dish, so that if I don't like something about it, I won't go hungry. Run. I am a professional detective. And based on your boyfriend's burger order, he is most likely a serial killer. Your boyfriend 1000% has an eating disorder. I've seen this before. Bro is going to need some help. You can do a lot better.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.